We are back at it again here with another video with Invest for Tomorrow. To all the first time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. To all subscribers, welcome back. All I ask for in return is for you to smash that like button, tell me I know you watch this video. It helps out the YouTube channel and it lets me know you appreciate the time and effort I put into making these videos. So here we are with CEI and with 42 Vision. We are clearly seeing how things jumped up from yesterday's lows, as I did yesterday's video, all the way up towards 163. There was a shift into strength, but it wasn't enough and things are pulling back downwards. And as I stated, we were looking at it on the 30-minute and on the 1 day and things were pulling downwards. So we're going to break it all down here together with 42 Vision, all the data and what's going on in the charts with CEI. But before we do, I want to share with you guys the home run opportunity I mentioned this morning over at the Discord. And if that's something that interests you, check out the link down below in the description. And we're going to jump right into it here with CEI. So the home run of the day was spectacular and it was beyond expectations. And if this is something that interests you and you want to become part of, you're more than welcome to join us. The link is down below in the description to the Discord. And by joining, you'll become part of a growing community of investors, all looking to learn and grow together. And this is what we strive for every single day. So the stocks I mentioned this morning were WTRH, KOSS, and GWH. Now GWH was a home run from yesterday. I was watching it carefully to see if it gave an opportunity, and between GWH and KOSS there were small jumps of 3 to 5%, 5 to 10%, but our home run of the day, let's go ahead and look at the chart here together. It was phenomenal. We started talking about this one as it was pulling back in the pre-market, hit a bottom here of about 109. It started to reverse towards the bell, jumped up a 10 to 15% move, pulled back down and continued to a highest point of 25% plus, almost reaching 30% plus. So if this is something that interests you and you want to become part of, check out the link down below in the description. We look forward to having you join us. And this is what we strive for every single day. Let's jump into these charts. So here we are with CEI, and CEI continues to go into further weakness. In yesterday's video, I made the video around this time frame here when the reversal was starting, and I had stated that it was pushing upwards due to the fact that there was a transition. It went down a little bit and it continued into strength into today's morning, and from yesterday's lows to today it went up nearly 20%, and from those highs it just pulled downwards, broke through support levels, and it's getting really close to the lows from yesterday, which is 138. And I've talked about how important that support level is to the whole entire chart due to the fact that that's the lowest point that this has seen in this downward trend after running up towards 244. Now on the 1 day, we zoomed out on the picture, right? Things were looking like there was some strength, and yes, short term it went up 20% from those lows to today's high, but on the 1 day things continued to look like there was weakness. Now the only thing that's a little bit different today, after yesterday's 1 day was looking like a steep downward trend, now it's actually starting to shift into a downward sideways action here. You see that there? It's kind of leveling off and it wants to try to reverse. So it's going to be important to watch it at these levels. But if you look down here, volume has been weak anyways. It's been in the red, and the greenest volume bar since this downward trend was right here on October 8th. And it hit those highs up there of 244, 245, give or take. So on the 1 day, based off of 42 Vision, there's still some weakness. It is trying to come back up. We'll have to see if it can actually do that. And if it doesn't, and this shifts into a red candlestick like we see here, it's going to go into further weakness downwards. And if this gets closer to $1, it can lose momentum really, really fast. Now in yesterday's video, I talked about how this wasn't an article of one of the top short squeeze possibilities, but I also shared, based off the data, why this isn't such a great short squeeze opportunity due to the fact that short interest is pretty low, and also the days to cover. And we're going to look at that in just a moment. And after that, we're going to break down everything here in the chart, some support levels and some resistance levels based off the 30-minute with 42 Vision. So in yesterday's video, we looked at the data, and we're going to look at the data again, and I'm going to explain why I stated in yesterday's video the days to cover is the only thing giving leverage to the bears to allow them to be able to have the flexibility to cover and reshort again. And that's exactly what we see here as this started to go up from these lows to today's high, come back down and go even lower. And that's right here. The days to cover yesterday was 0.08. Today it's 0.04. That is really low. And you can see here the short ratio volume from yesterday was 31%. I stated if this went lower, that is going to show us that there's some covering happening. And as we see it here, this was right here at about a couple 100,000 short shares availability. And in the last update a minute ago, it is showing 3 million, guys. 3 million is a huge difference from yesterday to today. And if you actually look here, because yesterday the article stated that CEI had made it to the top 5 on this list, there's only one that's actually now pulled down away from the top 5 and is in the top 10 with 0.04 in the total amount of days to cover. The short interest yesterday was 9%. Today it is nearly 7%. That right there confirms that covering is happening as we see it. And the borrow fee rate is showing here 175. And that is something to also be aware of throughout this whole process. The short squeeze score is still pretty high, but when you really look at it, the days to cover is actually what's adding up here. You could see it there. And that days to cover is really low, lower than yesterday. And then the available shares basically says it all, as well as the volume per day has gone down. And it's going to be interesting to see this actually creep up in the next few days or even today after the information rolls out, because that will let us know that yes, there's covering happening, but there's also shorts repositioning themselves, taking advantage of the flexibility that they have with this 0.04 days to cover for CEI. So when we look here at the chart, guys, this is actually going in a downtrend. It's going to test those lows, and if it could stay above it, there's some strength. If it breaks through 138, the next point of reference I would be watching is 111. See how the bulls react within that area, if they try to reappear and bring it back up, or if the bears and shorts are going to continue pulling this one down lower. And then the lowest point here is 88 cents that we saw after the overreaction of the short seller report, which is super important. That support level is more important than $1, because if that gets broken through, true weakness is coming. And this right here ended up just being a dead cat bounce, as I stated and as we talked about on the dates of those videos and how we've seen things pulling downwards. Now, this does not take away the fact that it could be a short squeeze candidate, as those articles have came out, if shorts keep on repositioning and they get trapped eventually if this reverses. But right now, if they keep on having this flexibility, they keep on pushing it down, they're going to dominate this and push it up real quick and push it right back down every time. So be aware of that. And this is a lot of having to do with stock market and emotional intelligence and psychology, due to the fact that the charts, that's why I love 42 vision. It lets me see the weakness and it lets me see the transition into strength. And when the transition after the strength has actually started to shift and transition back into weakness. And we've been in weakness since that peak, since those dates, and that ended up being just a dead cat bounce. And if it couldn't break through 244 and get closer back up here to 320, there was big rejections happening and it was going to go back down, and it was going to be much harder for this to push up after all this hype has actually dwindled down. And that short seller report is actually getting into a lot of investors' minds and also their motivation to want to stay or even reinvest in this company for the long term and the possibilities about it. So it hurt the momentum big time. And the true transition all started way back here, like I've stated in my previous videos as well, with 42 vision, when things started to look more red than green. And this is the big difference here, when 42 vision was showing strength through the volatility but continuing in that uptrend. So that's what I love about it, and it's so important to be able to watch these things and catch these things and not get caught off guard, and being prepared and aware no matter what the noise is out there and what's going on with the news and the volatility. The charts, 42 vision, brings out that clarity. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.